If you signed up a trucking accident case and need some help with that, stay tuned. Well, if you're accustomed to doing ordinary personal injury work and you've just signed up a large trucking accident case, you may be wondering about the resources you may need. And so to help you with that, I've invited a trucking accident expert, Matthew Wright, to join us today. Matt, thanks for being here.
Hey, Mike, thanks for having me.
Yeah, you bet. So, you know, there are a lot of car wreck lawyers in the country, tens of thousands of them, and very few folks, though, who actually know how to prosecute trucking cases. They're not just a bigger car, right? There's a lot that goes into commercial accident cases. And because you're a speaker on the topic and you're well known for being successful in these cases, I thought it might be nice for our viewers to hear from you, maybe a few tips or ideas if they've signed up a case like that.
Yeah, the most important thing is when you get that case that you understand is a case where a trucking company and maybe the liability is disputed and you're going to have to argue about that, the evidence is going to be gone if you don't act immediately on that. And a lot of times they destroy the evidence, the electronic data, the GPS data after 6 months. So at our law firm, we have a system in place that makes sure that we go through our checklist of sending out the request to preserve, maybe getting a court order if it's warranted, because they keep this data with a third-party vendor. A telematics company is what it's called. And so the first thing you want to do is make sure that evidence is preserved, because that can be a gold mine in order to reconstruct what happened. And you're going to look at things like how long the driver had been on the road. And a lot of times the truck company will get a real-time warning, and they would have actually known that the driver is fatigued or over hours. And if you don't get that evidence within a certain amount of time and act quickly on it, it's going to be gone. And so that's the first recommendation I want to have, is get someone who knows what they're doing. And if you don't understand it yourself, co-counsel with a lawyer who specializes in prosecuting the truck accident claims. So that would be my first tip. And also, if there is a minimum policy in place, you also want to make sure that you've investigated the whole supply chain to make sure that there isn't another defendant who might be responsible for the decisions that they made to put a dangerous truck on the road. And so you got to look at things like the broker that we were talking about before, the shipper, or even big trucking companies sometimes hire small trucking companies that are dangerous by using something called a load board. But the bottom line is $1 million in today's dollars is not very much when you're talking about catastrophic injury. It's not going to take care of your client. And so you've got to make sure you investigate the whole supply chain and find all the insurance that's available out there. And so that's why a trucking accident lawyer who handles these cases regularly will and should understand where to go look for those policies and other coverage.
Right, and NBTA certification would be helpful as well.
Yeah, the National Board of Trial Advocacy has a certification in truck accident law. And so there are, I think, about 20 lawyers in the country certified in that right now. There will be more as the exam is administered more, but certainly that's a great place to start, a great resource.
Well, if a lawyer's watching this, has a case or may have a case coming up, and they had a few questions for you, how might they reach you?
Yeah, our website is truckinjurylaw.us, also wrightlawplc.com. And our office number is 615-455-3588. And my cell phone is 615-812-1351.
And you take cases and co-counsel cases all across the country?
Yeah, right? I'm a Tennessee lawyer, but a lot of times the truck cases can be filed in other jurisdictions. And so you've got to look at, for example, where is the trucking company located? Where was the decision made to put that trucking driver on the road? And so, for example, we've had cases where the cargo was loaded in Los Angeles, and so that ended up being the appropriate venue. So I get admitted specially through co-counsel out there, wherever the best venue is and where the most appropriate place to file it is.
Fascinating. Very interesting. So I always thought that truck injury lawyers, it was just a marketing thing, but I've come to learn from you, it's a very highly specialized practice.
It is, and for the reasons you were telling us, Mike, truck crashes are very different than automobile crashes because you're dealing with highly specific regulations that are intended to protect the public, but they don't always, because people don't follow them. And so you have to understand the rules, the technology, and the data that, I mean, we're becoming a data-driven society, the data behind reconstructing what happened and the events that led up to that crash.
Fantastic. Great. Well, thanks for being here, and thanks for the work that you do to keep us all safer.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, thanks.